A very good afternoon and warm welcome to all the attendees and panelists. We all know the biggest challenge every food processing industry faces today is the lack of advancement and innovation in its manufacturing practices. To bridge this upgradation gap, we at Neologic Engineers decided to present an emerging food tech webinar series. Now in this webinar series, we talk about a lot of many things like cost-effective food processing automations and solutions, applications of top-notch machineries and technologies. Then we also talk about the current trends and future directions in food processing sector and a lot of other things. And we have been conducting these webinars since last almost 3 years. And in this 17th webinar of this series today, we will be talking about latest trends and technologies in high-speed dairy separators. Today's webinar will be jointly delivered by the industry experts from Neologic Engineers and Alfa Laval. And we are also excited to announce that Neologic Engineers is now a master integrator of Alfa Laval. A few words about our today's speaker, Yonis from Alfa Laval. He has Masters of Science degree and has been working in business development and sales roles for almost 12 years. And in Alfa Laval, he's the manager of global sales for dairy for the high-speed separator business and works within the food processing industry for almost last 10 years in different food applications. Welcome, Yonis, in this webinar. Let me also introduce Mr. Ravindra Mahajan, founder and director at Neologic Engineers. Born in middle-class family in Jalgaon, Maharashtra, he started his entrepreneurial journey and his association with dairy at the early age of 13, when he started selling milk early morning before going to school. And he has masters in dairy and food engineering from IIT Kharagpur in 1991. And with 3 decades of process engineering experience, including years in Alfa Laval and Tetra Pak, he established his dream by founding Neologic Engineers with his fellow associate, Mr. Rajendra Gore. He's also on the panel. In 2007, they have founded this company to provide an end-to-end solution for various applications in dairy and food processing sector. Professionally, a hardcore technocrat, PMP certified professional, having expertise in process design, plant automation, dairy aseptic system, and project management. He traveled more than 35 countries and almost all parts of India for his professional work. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me present our first speaker today, Mr. Yonis. Over to you, Yonis. You can start with the agenda.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nikhil, and thank you everyone for attending this great webinar where we will learn a bit more about the trends in dairy technology and especially about high-speed separators. So let me go to the objective and how the flow will go today a bit. So we'll discuss a bit, have a small introduction about how the separator technology works, what are the very basics of the separators, what applications we use the separators in dairy. We will see how the components and how the process optimization and operation is happening in general. And of course, then we will go to the biggest core part, let's say, of the discussion today to present a bit of advancements in and innovations in the technology business of separators. And then we will finalize our presentation before, let's say, the questions with a case study about how the advancement of separator technology also helps not only on separation itself, but also on energy saving solutions. So let's start with a very small introduction to what the separator technology is. And basically, before we go to that, just to say that we from Alfa Laval, we're of course proud to be the company that has founded and has been innovating, because the company itself has been grown on the very much design of the separator itself from 1883. So this has a product which has been the core of Alfa Laval for more than 130 years now. And our aim is to continue to innovate even more with that product and go forward in order to create separation technology to the very last extent, let's say. And how does the separator work? Basically, it's a technology where you have, in practice, mechanical separation by density difference due to the fact of using a centrifugal force. You're separating by density to liquids or liquids with solids. So it's not like a very exotic, let's say, physics behind it. However, the design and how we are selecting to create the separator and how to generate the design of the separator gives different perspectives and gives different technology advancements on the separation performance itself. So there are technologies that are bottom-fed and hermetic, and other top-fed technologies that create a performance difference, let's say, in the end, when it comes to the customer side. Of course, the performance itself is affected by different parameters because separators are not only used for dairy, but also for other applications. But on the dairy, of course, side, the type of product that we're using, milk or whey, the flow, the particle size, if the temperature, of course, and the density differences are affecting how separators are working today and are critical parameters for us to consider when we are sizing a separator for a different application, let's say. However, I have also to say that here the separators is a core technology for all food industries. No matter the food industry you are in, you will definitely see a separator on the processing side of things. And with that being said, I will ask Mr. Mahajan to discuss a bit more about the applications.
As you know, Alfa Laval is well-known name, and Alfa Laval is the inventor of the technology of separation. And Alfa Laval is present in India for more than almost 90 years now, and more than 2,500 separators are working across various parts of India in many dairies. These separators are small, right from 1,000 liter to 50,000 liter. So let us see how separation technology can be used in milk. So first is clarification. When we receive milk, raw milk in the dairy, we have to remove the solids like dust particles, somatic cells, and everything, so that the raw milk quality is improved. And these impurities, if these are removed, then these impurities do not go into the further processing like pasteurization, homogenization, and other things. Then after, of course, it is important to remove the somatic cells and hair and so many things in the clarification process. Cream separation. So cream separation of cream is essential, as you know, the fat content of cow ranges. It is a big range, right from 3.5% to 5.2%, depending on the breed and depending on the lactation period. Similarly, for buffalo milk, the fat percentage is always higher than 6%. And when we go to the market milk, like a standardized milk, fat percent around 4.5, tone milk 3%, and double tone 1.5%. To reduce this fat percent or to adjust this fat percent, we have to remove the cream from the milk. So that is a basic cream separation. And when we are going to make a skim milk powder, we have to remove 100% fat from the milk. 100% separation has to be done. Full skimming, we call. So that is the another separation. And spores removal. So we call it bacteriophage, reduction of bacterial load. If we are successful in reducing the bacterial load of the milk before we do the thermal treatment of the milk, it is very good that we can reduce the thermal treatment load on the milk and preserve the basic nutritive value, as well as we have less microorganisms to kill, so we can maintain less temperature in the pasteurization, thermization, and sterilization process. So these are the main three applications. Where now let me take you through this clarification. So to improve raw milk quality, for removing non-milk solids like dirt, straws, sand, animal hair, etc., and also to remove somatic cells. Positive clarification in process, that is at raw milk reception, we do a cold clarification. It is also possible that we can use the milk at some temperature, like a warm milk, and do the clarification so that the surface tension is less. And before whey pasteurization, we can do the whey clarification. In a cheese and paneer making process, a lot of fat goes into the whey, and we need to remove the fat from the whey. So that is whey clarification. It is necessarily hot clarification. Limitations. Let's understand the limitations. Clarifier cannot make good again what has gone bad. Means if the milk quality is bad, if the milk temperature is increased and the microbial count has increased, the pH, acidity, oxidation, enzymatic breakdown, all these things are a different problems or quality problems associated with milk. These cannot be handled by clarifier. So it basically reduces the solids and it reduces the somatic cell count. So let's now talk about separation, cream separation. First is the full fat skimming. So we have to dimension the separator or select the separator model in such a way that the 100% milk is removed. So allowed fat percentage in the skim milk is 0.05 to 0.06%. So maximum milk in the form of cream is removed in full fat skimming. Then fat standardization. For the market milk or for the milk that is going into the UHT pack, as I mentioned that we have to adjust the fat percentage based on the milk quality that we declare on the package, like toned milk or double toned milk, 3%, 1.5%. So we have to dimension the separator to give 40% cream outlet continuously and adjust the fat percentage to our desired level. There are different ways of standardizing it. You can either decide the batch standardization by deciding the amount of cream to be separated from the batch, or you can do the online standardization. Online standardization is quite sophisticated technology and successfully implemented by reputed brands in India. Standardization capacity determines the capacity to reach a low enough fat content in the milk. So I am just covering just a summary, clarification, raw milk or cheese and paneer whey clarification, as well as one point I didn't mention earlier is a ghee clarification. During the ghee boiling process, lot of burnt particles, the curd particles are burnt in the ghee at 120 degree and above temperature. So these curd particles has to be removed to less than 0.1% as a ash content in the ghee, which is ACMAR standard. So rigorous ghee clarification is very important for the certified product. Separation, we have already covered this, that pasteurized milk, cheese and paneer whey separation, and serum fat recovery from the buttermilk. That buttermilk that is generated in the process of making butter. And bacterification. So bacterification is one more rigorous process where we reduce the spore count. Almost more than 99% spores are removed because spores are heavy and spores are challenging for thermal process. So it is important to reduce the spore count by way of bacterification. Bacterification is much more rigorous than a normal separation process. And it is very important to have bacterification for cheese and powder, cheese making process, because harsh treatment to the milk is not acceptable in cheese process. It has a lot of effects on the cheese, final cheese quality. As well as for low heat powder and baby food powders, it is important that we reduce the bacterial load before processing. And also for UHT milk, we have to ensure that bacterification is done so that the load on sterilization is less. Cream concentration. In the concentrated milk fat, anhydrous milk fat and butter oil production, we have to remove the water content and concentrate the cream to a higher percent, sometimes more than 70%. And we have to remove the serum. Also, we have to remove the fat from the molten butter. So cream concentration, again fat separation, serum separators, and again after removing the fat and after the production, if we want to remove the further the solids and liquid part, then we have to do polishing. So these are some of the applications of separator. Over to you, Anis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll also share my screen.
Yeah.
Perfect. So after discussing and after Mr. Mahajan presented about the different applications, let us see how generally the components of a separator system look like and how we can in different ways optimize the operation of the process. So as you can see here in the picture, a high-speed separator system is including, of course, as a heart of the system, the separator itself. This is the core component, of course, of the complete system. But in order for it to function, we need different components around it. And for that, of course, we normally have a starter and control panel where you can control the way the separator behaves. And also they are connecting to other parts of the plant, for example, to a central SCADA system. We need to have a service liquid unit on the site, which basically we are talking about the different utilities that are used, like water and compressed air, in order to support the separator during the operation, for example, for the discharge functions, or flushing, or other functions. Then we are providing, and you can see that there are different valves and instrumentation on the back end or the outlet of the separators in order to control the process itself, and other type of skid modules around the separator that are units that support different features of the separator, such as the e-motion unit that I'm showing here, that I will explain to you later what it is. How do we control the process? Of course, there are different ways to control the process. Three main ways are by adjusting the back pressure control through the valves in the outlet. So it is possible, of course, to set different type of pressures specific to a different recipe, let's say, in order to create the necessary product conditions for the control. And that type of control is done through the HMI of the unit, basically where we are setting up the fat content of the cream. The same can happen also through flow control. Normally, the skimmed milk, for example, will be set in terms of a value of the inlet flow, and then the back pressure will automatically adjust in order to adjust, let's say, and use the set point that we have already indicated on the HMI. And therefore, the fat content, of course, will be determined by the light phase back pressure. Finally, in different applications, also we have the possibility to control how the cream concentration or skimming efficiency of the machine will go by a set point in density on the milk on the cream outlet. So the cream phase back pressure will be controlled in those occasions by a density set point that we are creating. So there are different ways of processing and controlling, let's say, the behavior of the high-speed separator. So let's talk, now that we have learned more about the application, now a bit more about the separator and how it works and how we control it. Let's take a deep dive now in the different type of design trends and innovations that are supporting a more sustainable production of dairy products. As we said before, the focus that comes together, let's say, of course, with Alfa Laval, is that we want to focus on optimizing even more the separation performance that we are having today on our existing models. And given the fact that Alfa Laval has set very aggressive targets in order to become itself carbon zero, but also supporting our customers in their struggle to minimize their environmental footprint. There is a strong focus on making our separators even more energy effective than they are today. And in order to do so, the last part is that we are trying to connect to the best possible extent, let's say, the separators with different sensoring technology, so that we are exploring more on the digital side how we can make those units even more intelligent, let's say. So the first and most important parameter is the fact that our separators and the separator technology tends to create a bigger and better efficiency when it comes to separation efficiency. And there are different designs out there, as we said before. The Hermetic design is, let's say, the focus of our separation technology. It is a unique bottom-fed design that creates a bowl free from air, or we can call it airtight, and it enables improved product quality and reduces the power consumption significantly. And I will explain how that works. The second part, which is related to the performance of the units, is a new design of discs that we have introduced, let's say, in the market. And not only they increase the capacity, but also they improve the hygiene. And how do we do that? Is because that type of technology is based on non-welded discs. So on those discs, we have actually 0 welds. They are pressed discs. So I will come to that in a bit later. And then, as I mentioned before, one of the innovation areas that we're focusing on is the fact of having the best energy efficient separator in the market. eMotion is an innovation technology, let's say, that we have developed here in Alfa Laval that helps significantly on that direction, and it reduces even more the power consumption of our separators to an even lower extent, thus reducing significantly the carbon dioxide footprint of all dairies. So I will explain also a bit about that as well. And finally, we do have in our complete range, let's say, a focus on making the gear drive separators that we have today even more simpler. So we have a direct drive separators as well, which we're offering in terms of mechanical simplicity and, of course, higher efficiency with lower costs. So how does a hermetic design work, and why does that give a better separation performance comparing to the traditional top-fed design? So basically what we are doing is that we have a separator that is fully free of air. The inlet comes from the bottom, as you can see here, and we are using 2 rotating pump wheels on the outlet in order to push out the liquid or the milk or whey towards downstream on the process. The key element that makes the separation performance stick out, especially when it comes to skimming efficiency, is the fact that the product is basically accelerated smoothly through the hollow spindle before entering the bowl. We all know that fat globules are very sensitive to shear forces and they are breaking down. So with that type of design, we are allowing those fat globules to be intact as much as possible while entering the separators. Therefore, if you don't have that particle splitting or fat globule splitting, you're having a better and bigger size of molecules inside the milk, and that enables a higher skimming efficiency when it comes to the milk skimming. Therefore, we can ensure the lowest possible skimming efficiency in the market, and at the same time, due to the flexibility of the unit, because you are controlling how the separator behaves through the back pressures that we said before, we have the possibility to, at the same time, be able to concentrate the cream side up to 60% fat while maintaining a very good skimming efficiency. Therefore, for, of course, powder plants, the skimming efficiency is a vital thing. So even improving by 0.01% in terms of skimming efficiency the financial benefit in the end is far bigger. So what we are actually saying here is that the bowl is completely filled with liquid that supports particles not to be splitting, and that increases the skimming efficiency, which can go even below 0.05% thanks to the gentle inlet. And at the same time, since the bowl is always full with no air pockets, there is no air mixing with the product, which actually maintains significantly the quality and to the other extent, of course, the shelf life of the product. But at the same time, it gives a better and most simple and efficient CIP because there are no hidden, let's say, air pockets inside the bowl, which is traditionally the case for top-fed traditional separators. Not only that, but due to the fact that the hermetic design makes this process even more smooth, we are saving up to 60% power consumption comparing to other designs. So what we can think here is that with a hermetic separator, you have a flexible production that you can get even more value from your milk, either by improving the skimming efficiency by even the slightest one of 0.1% and generate an increased revenue due to the higher volume, let's say, of cream sales. Or you can even concentrate further the cream itself in order to be able to get much more skimmed milk in terms of volume per se. So the hermetic design of dairy separators meet the flexibility demands of the dairy industry, and of course gets the possibility for you to have much more value from the milk in any of the products, final products that you are actually making. So, emulsion technology. How does it look if we take the most energy effective separator and we make it even more energy effective? I think that would be the title of this type of technology. Emulsion technology is creating, let's say, all the necessary conditions for the separator to work in the best possible power consumption conditions. So on the top of the hermetic design benefits, what we are actually doing with this type of technology is that we are creating low pressure conditions inside the separator. The air friction between the rotating bowl, which is rotating at a high speed, and the air inside the casing is actually the main contributor for the power consumption of the bowl. Therefore, if we take out this type of air or reduce it, because we cannot totally take it out, of course, and we create this type of low pressure conditions, we are reducing significantly the power consumption by even 70% of traditional top-fed separators. Not only that, but we're also having the benefit of reducing the temperature pickup, which is very much beneficial, especially in cases when we are processing the milk in cold conditions. But of course, it is very valid to maintain, let's say, the quality of the milk throughout the process, even in hot milk skimming or whey skimming or clarification as well. Another side benefit of installing and using an emulsion technology is the fact that we have lower sound levels. And that is, of course, also important for the people that are working on the operational floor, because we are contributing in better conditions, working conditions in the factory, which is also a very important parameter as well. The next type of innovation, which is related, as I said before, to the performance of the separators, is the UniDiscs. So the UniDiscs, together with the hermetic design, are a new type of disc that you can see here on the site. We have no welded cocks, as you can see between those two pictures. Weldings are the traditional way of making discs, but at the same time, what this innovation has brought into the market is that we have pressed the discs through forming. This design, first and foremost, makes a difference because we have the possibility to add much more discs inside the same separator. the reason is, of course, this type of microcoques that are made from this share forming process. And they are also much more hygienic because of the absence of welding. So even CIP time, it's actually reduced. It's easier to CIP. And as an example, let's say, even in US, the USDA has actually really loved this type of innovation because they are giving support, let's say, to their 3A demands for the dairy industry. So the benefit is that we could, of course, increase the performance of the unit because, of course, we are adding, let's say, more discs. But at the same time, we have the possibility to have a better hygienic design, easier CIP conditions, and also maintain the same separation efficiency that we have named before. Going on the digital aspect of the separator, what we're trying to do is we try to monitor continuously our equipment, and of course for that Alfa Laval is actually supporting today's technology with what we call condition alert. Condition alert is an online and proactive monitoring service that has been developed by Alfa Laval with different type of sensors that are proactively monitoring this type of equipment in order to provide feedback not only to the customers but also to us on how the units are operated. So we can, of course, support with oversight in terms of supporting with information about the mechanical condition of all rotating parts, so that we can inform beforehand all customers about the health of their equipment. So the condition alert, this is a monitoring tool based on Alfa Laval's, let's say, 30 years experience in the field. And we're using that for equipment worldwide in different applications. We have the possibility to provide immediate warnings or type of emails if we see some kind of abnormal behavior. You have access to our IoT portal, and therefore there is a possibility for the equipment to check the status on the long term. And of course, working with this tool, you of course have the possibility to gain and provide support from Alfa Laval experts in order to give feedback on how the separator works, what type of improvements can be done, or type of analysis for preventive maintenance in the future. It is an easy installation with two different type of units and small panels, which are connected to our IoT portal. So overall, the idea is that we are using this type of portal in order to get cost-free upgrades for the latest version of the Alfa Laval analysis program, but also to ensure the most accurate condition and monitoring of your equipment. And then finally, we will come to a topic of the latest trends of the self-cleaning technology. Alfa Laval has been present for many years, of course, by delivering large separator units in the market. We are, of course, aware that on the smaller range and smaller dairies, that has been one of the points we would like to understand and work on as well. We know that solid ball machines are, of course, there in the market, and they will continue being there as well. But at the same time, there is time for more industrial and more self-cleaning separators in the market. Therefore, there are new separators developed, those Compacta separator series that have the possibility to be fully discharging, self-discharging, and fully sippable. Those are skid-mounted, as you can see here on the right side, with all the valves and instrumentation to be on the right side in order to be able to process and directly the milk. So basically, we're talking about plug-and-play units with a very easy to use control cabinet with a PLC. Together with that, we have, of course, commissioning spares and documentation and set of tools. And it's a ready-to-use package for any small dairy that is looking in the future to convert from manual, let's say, operations and cleaning the discs to a more automated platform, which has the possibility also to scale up, conditioning, of course, with the condition that the dairy, of course, will scale up as well in the future. So it is a, let's say, sustainable investment that will happen with more production for different cooperatives and different small dairies. And finally, we would like to take a shed on a case study, not on the fact of performance, but also to explain why different technologies and innovations related to the performance of in terms of power consumption are making a very big difference and huge impact on the dairy industry, but also on other industries as well. So today we are actually trying to focus not on the skimming efficiency, but how much savings can a dairy or any other industry have by using the advancement of the hermetic design together with the emotion technology. So we have benchmarked these installations that we have in the field up to now in the same operating flow rates as you can see before with an existing top belt, let's say, belt-driven separator, just to compare the technologies. And we came into the obvious conclusion that the power consumption after measuring has been more than 63% less when it comes to the hermetic technology itself and the emotion addition. So the specific customer has actually indicated that they are saving now 244,000 kilowatt hours per year in a 21-hour shift, let's say, per day, which is a significant improvement when it comes to the power consumption and their carbon dioxide footprint. And of course, that money they can use in order to reinvest in other parts of the process in order to improve other points. So it's fair to say that the hermetic design together with the emotion is basically the best-in-class technology today available in the market in order to support all industries into their struggle about the carbon dioxide footprint. So overall, hermetic separators provide the best skimming efficiency in the field. They have the necessary production flexibility to get either the best skimming efficiency or concentrated fat content in the cream. The fact that we have no air inside the product maintains product quality, but also at the same time gives the lowest power consumption in the market. And innovations such as UniDisc or Emotion enhance both performance and provide the best-in-class power consumption technology in the market when it comes to the separators technology today. So, to recap a bit, we discussed a bit how the separator works today, what are the basic principles. We presented to you all the different applications within the dairy, how a general separator system looks like, and how we can improve, let's say, and optimize the performance. We focused quite heavily on the different innovation trends, but also the financial benefits that you can that someone can get with different type of technologies. And also we shed a bit more light into the case study that has been selected in this case in order to see what are the financial benefits by using the emotion technology together with a bottom-fed hermetic design, and of course the competitive advantages of it.
So we have received few questions. I would like to take first. The question is from Mr. Aditya. Can the latest high-speed dairy separators handle variable input flow rates? And if so, how they adjust to these variations?
Yeah. Yes, of course they can, and especially hermetic units have the possibility to get adjustments, let's say, in various flow rates. In principle, we are adjusting, let's say, the different processing conditions inside the separator to match the flow rate of different, let's say, lines. So yes, it is possible.
Yeah, and to add, I can say that the separator is always filled under pressure with a back pressure. The separator is always filled, and there is no cavitation happening inside the separator bowl. So even if it is a low flow, actually you are allowing more residence time for separation. So there is no problem.
Yeah, there is a question from Mr. Suryakant Reddy. We talked about actually emotion separators, but his question is that how are these separators different from the existing hermetic separators? Possibly Yanis can take that question.
Yeah. So I mean the existing, let's say, hermetic design of course is the one that we have traditionally over the last I would say many years. The hermetic design of let's say how we made it was based let's say on biotech separators in the past, and those separators have been let's say on the forefront of technology development up to now. So there are different improvements happening let's say in different parts, such as the outlet for fewer parts, or in the inlet to make the inlet even more smooth. But the general concept is still, let's say, the same. There have been no major changes on the design of the hermetic bowl itself, but there are major improvements happening all around it to ensure that we have better processing conditions with those separators.
Yeah, thank you, Yanis. There was another question. I think you talked about the UniDisc separators, which is being the latest tech that is being offered by Alfa Laval. Now the question was something very basic in the sense: can an existing separator with the regular present technology with the cogs can they go in for upgrade with the UniDisc bowl?
Yes, that is positive. In different, I mean, we of course have launched the UniDiscs in a big part of, let's say, the portfolio, and there are different separators that have the possibility to upgrade. It depends how old they are, but feel free to come in contact, of course, with NeoLogic, and then we will get that input from them and support them in that request. But yes, there is a big part of the separators that have the possibility to get upgrades. Yes.
Yeah, there's one question on LinkedIn. How do the latest high-speed dairy separators address issues of foam formation during the separation process?
Of foam?
Yeah, foam formation during the separation process.
Yeah. So basically, since the bowl is totally fully hermetic and you don't have any presence of air, the general idea is that you don't create any kind of foam. Let's say through the separator itself, there is no foam creation. Of course, we know that in different applications, the process itself has, let's say, some tendency to create foam, especially on the discharge levels, but that is minimized due to the fact that the bowl it's totally hermetically closed, it's totally airtight, and then it depends on how the fine-tuning of the discharge sequence is done. So it is always a bit of a balance. So.
Okay. So the next one is what are the temperature control capabilities of the newest technology dairy separators, and how do they affect the separation performance?
Of course, we have different process conditions in different dairy processes. I mean, the separators themselves have the possibility to operate from very low to quite high temperature conditions. In the in the controls of the system, of course, we take into account the temperature of the complete process in order to be able to have optimized processing conditions during the production time. So that is taken into account, let's say, on the design and also on the sizing of the units themselves in order to adjust, let's say, the separator to the best process conditions when it comes to technology and when it comes to temperature.
I think there was also a question about cleaning of the separators. I think there was a mention about the savings of CIP by going for the UniDisc separators, balls with UniDisc balls. So the question was that to what extent can the CIP, whether reduction in CIP time or temperatures, can be employed by going for this new technology?
Yes. It's a good question, in fact. And what we have seen up to now in different installations that we have seen, that we are actually saving to an extent of approximately 5 to 8% CIP liquid, let's say, due to the fact that the process itself can be shortened when it comes to the separator CIP cleaning. So it's if you accumulate that over a year, let's say, this is a very big win, let's say, in terms of financials when it comes to the separator itself.
There's one question. There's one question from Mr. Sudhir Pandey. What is the effect on non-deaerated milk feeding on overall efficiency of the separation?
Non-dairy.
Non-deaerated.
Non-deaerated. I think. I mean, this is. It's the same concept, of course, and we have quite high efficiency levels, let's say, also on the same type of product as well. So you can think that the biggest part, let's say, of the efficiency of a separator is how much you are actually splitting particles during the while you have the inlet, let's say, of the unit. And since this type of technology is much more smooth and it doesn't split basically the fat globules into smaller pieces, the efficiency you get is the highest possible you can have on a separator equipment up to now, and that goes also for the deaerated products as well.
Generally, the fat globule size is the smallest fat globule size is 1 micron, and the higher the fat globule size, better is the separation efficiency. So in non-deaerated milk, if the air incorporation is too much, generally it doesn't happen that way because by the time milk reaches to the separator, too much air cannot enter the separator, but air will adversely affect the separation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there was a question about application. I think with Mr. Mahajan can take. I think there's also the question that what is better recommended in a dairy, cold clarification or hot clarification, so whether what is recommended from a performance of the separator and energy point of view. So
basically, separation is liquid-liquid separation. And we have a separation happening because of the density difference when we are considering it as a fat separation. But when it comes to clarification also, the less surface tension and less viscosity, better is the clarification. So hot milk clarification is always more effective than cold milk clarification. But cold milk clarification, people go for cold milk clarification because in the raw milk stage, they do not want to reheat the milk and again chill it before pasteurization. So it is totally depending on the choice of the dairy, on the energy conservation, as well as how they are going to run the plant throughout the day. We can give separator for both the applications, for sure. But given a choice, if I am a process engineer, I would like to go for hot milk clarification.
Yeah, I hope it answers your question that we are given here. I think there's another basic question was about your e-drive separators, which is the latest technology in terms of the drive technology. Can a normal voltage and frequency available at the dairy be given as a power supply, or does it require a very special regulated power supply?
No, you can have a normal power supply. It's not a problem.
Okay.
There is one more question from Mr. Sharma, that is, when eMotion was launched and how many separators are running successfully with eMotion?
A good question. So eMotion was actually officially launched approximately 2 years back, 3, and we have more than 100 at least separators working with different applications, not only dairy. That could be also brewery, that could be beverage, fruits, and so on. So with a complete, let's say, industry landscape, let's say we have more than 100 units working already now after 3 years. So it is a technology that a lot of industries are focusing on, and I must say also that due to the latest, of course, 2 years, 1.5, 2 years conditions about financing, let's say, sustainability targets, different companies have been focusing quite a lot in that aspect as well, because in cases where you have high energy prices, the return on investment is very short comparing to others. So it's a good investment to have.
Thank you. Another question is from Mr. Kalra. In India, many dairies were buying in 10 years ago. The second-hand separators are common in India, and people buy second-hand separator not just for price but very long delivery period. So how Alfa Laval is working on improving the delivery so that people are encouraged to buy new machines?
Well, I mean, of course, Alfa Laval is working quite actively when it comes to improving, as always, the delivery times of all separators and to deliver that to the market. There are multiple investments happening, of course, in our factories. We have, of course, factories, as you probably know, in India as well. We're producing separators. So there are a lot of investments happening, but due to the normal supply chain constraints that have happened over the last 2 years, this has been a bit of a challenge. However, we are focusing on improving, and we're constantly improving, let's say, the manufacturing methods and the investments we do in the factories in order to be able to address to the best possible extent the market demand globally, and that, of course, includes India as well.
And Mr. I would like to also add that, Mr. Kalra, you can reach to us with the specific capacity, because up to certain capacity, even the self-cleaning separators are manufactured by Alfa Laval in India, and beyond 10,000 liter, if these are big separators, then only we are importing it from Europe. So based on your requirement, we can take up the challenge of supplying as per the expectation. There is one more question from Mr. Sudhir Pandey, that why the bacteria fuse are so costly than the separator?
Yes, well, it is a bit of a different technology, of course. Separators are a more, let's say, a straightforward mainstream application that all dairies are having. The bacteriofuges have a more tough design requirements in order to reduce the bacteria, and therefore there is, of course, a price tag difference onto that, because there is much more. It's a big, let's say, complexity when it comes to the design and the mindset of the flows inside the machine in order to remove the bacteria. It's a more difficult separation also. So that is the short answer.
Yeah, and basically the G force, the forces required to separate the spores is much higher than the fat separation. So the back-to-fuse machine for 20,000 flow rate and a separator 20,000 flow rate, the back-to-fuse is much bigger machine for the same flow rate. So it is costly.
Yeah, there was a question about, the e-motion, again, coming back to e-motion technology in separators. What is the capacity range for e-motion? I mean, how small, what is the smallest capacity of e-motion separator can we get?
Emotion technology is not related. I understand the question as what is the smallest unit that we could install the emotion on, because
Right, yeah.
emotion is a separate, let's say, technology on the side. So from 15 cubic meters an hour in terms of skimming and upwards, almost all units have the possibility to get emotion, 15 to 20, let's say. Yeah. So that is the, let's say, the smallest available separators that have that feature available, let's say. But at the same time, of course, we are trying to expand to the best possible extent and where it has, and when it has more, let's say, impact.
There is one question from Mr. Gokula Krishnan. Can you please share how much will be the bacterial load removal in back-to-fuses and in back-to-fuse as well as in self-cleaning separators? How much is the bacterial load removal? So yeah,
you can answer that if you want.
So basically, Mr. Gokul Krishnan, the self-cleaning separator main duty is to have a fat separation. So in design of self-cleaning separator, which is a normal machine, it is not intended for that kind of G forces where spores are removed. But in back-to-fuse, our target is to remove the spores, bacterial spores, and not bacteria, because bacteria are very small cells. And bacteria can be easily killed by the thermal treatment. So the spores removal is generally up to the 99% is possible with through back-to-fuse.
So these are some of the upcoming webinars, new trends and technologies in mango processing, new age dairy plant automation, latest trends in aseptic milk processing, and significance of AI in automated food processing plants. So you will get the notification of all these webinar invitation on your email addresses and on your mobile numbers as well. Also, you can book 1 hour slot from our team members, from our experts. If you have any queries, if you have any requirements, you can book a 1 hour consultation call. I have put the Calendly link in the chat box. You can click on the same link and you can book your time slot as well. And after this webinar, you will be redirected to the Calendly link wherein you can book your slot as well. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you all the Alpha Laval team. Thank you all the attendees for joining in. Thank you all the panelists.
Thank
We will soon meet in the next
all the
session.
participants.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.